My name is Kristen Baumgartner, and I'm with Baracus Blum Computer Consulting. Today, I will be reviewing the Accounts Receivable module for Sage 100. Baracus Blum Computer Consulting has been selling and implementing Sage products for over 30 years and is one of the top Sage 100 solution providers in the country. We are dedicated to helping our clients continuously improve and have industry expertise that comes from years of experience and real-world knowledge. In today's presentation, I'll be reviewing what the Accounts Receivable module is used for, the main data that is stored within this module, and we will also be reviewing the main processing transactions within the AR module. AR is primarily used for customer account maintenance and includes, but is not limited to, customer contacts, addresses, and ship-tos, price levels and item pricing, credit limits, sales tax assignments, and salesperson commission, along with any additional memos specific for customers. This also houses the customer history within this module. Customer invoices can also be created from AR when not using the Sage 100 sales order or inventory modules. Cash receipts can also be entered in this module. All of these transactions will process and roll up to the general ledger. AR is a Sage core module, and the majority of customers will use it to maintain at minimum their customer information. So let's take a look at this module as it applies in Sage. In my Sage 100 environment, I have modules along the left-hand side of my screen. Accounts receivable is one of them that my security access gives me permission to, and we're going to take a look at our tasks today. Under our main task processing, we're first going to look at customer maintenance. In customer maintenance, this is where we receive all of the core information and setup for our customers. I'm going to use my magnifying glass to pull up my customer list, and I'm going to select one that we can review in detail today. Here's my customer accounting systems associates. On our main tab, we house all important critical information for the customer, including but not limited to address information, terms code, ship-tos, salesperson associations, tax schedules, and we also have the ability to check for credit checking in the AR module. This is a setup option in AR, and you can determine to either look by a credit limit, including our AR aging, or have the system look at this separately. You can see this customer is currently in a credit limit exceeded state, and this will actually play into as we process transactions going forward. I want to start at this top bar where we have this More button, because we do have additional options within this environment beyond what we're going to see on our typical header tabs. Under the More option, the first option I can pull up is our contacts. Our contact codes are stored within Sage 100. You can have multiple contacts listed, and we're going to take a look at Carl today. In Carl's information, not only can we include his address, whether it's his business or his personal address, multiple telephone numbers, and email address, we also have the ability to take notes within the customer contact maintenance record. Notes can also be found beyond contacts in our memo option at the top of our AR customer maintenance record. This memo is yellow, indicating that I do have notes in this. You can house additional memo options, including, again, phone log conversations. I have my company contact information and about page as an example. This memo gives you the ability to, again, tie specific information to your customer record, well as Carl's contact notes pertain just specifically to Carl. Also in this More tab, we have our items listed. This is a list of associated items to the customer, and we can also use this to set up our customer pricing records. When I look at an item code for this customer, this example shows us that we actually have a price discount amount applied for this specific customer information. Based on volume discounts, we've actually given a discounted amount on a disc, and we've got our discounted amounts listed here, that will reduce our standard unit price based on the volume that this particular customer orders in. Other options would also be to set up for cost markups instead of discounts, We also can allow for overrides and a price discount percentage as well. But each of these items, when entered for this customer, can be populated and housed in this area to be able to give our customer specific pricing information. Going back into our More tab, besides items, we also can house ship to addresses. We can link into an invoice inquiry for this customer, RMA inquiry if we are processing RMAs through the Sage 100 module. And this is also where we can set up our paperless delivery options. If we choose to enable Sage Paperless Office, we can set up our contacts in this module and have the system determine, based on our settings, which documents we would like to deliver to those customer contacts. Back in our customer maintenance tab, we also have additional headers across the top. We have additional information that doesn't necessarily go on the main tab, but we can set up information, including housing our primary payment information for our customer. We have statistics we can look at. This gives you a nice overview of for a different period end or a fiscal year. Looking at, again, highest balance, unpaid finance charges, it gives you a nice snapshot for the customer itself. On the summary tab, we can see this again in a different way and point to different fiscal periods if necessary. It does give us our customer history records, again, tied to whichever history record we're looking at. Our invoices, and when I look through these invoices, one of the nice functional pieces of Sage 100 is it does allow you to easily link and drill into records. By selecting an invoice and then using my invoice history, I can jump directly to that invoice and see what that customer at that time had purchased through us. On my transactions tab, we also have a nice summary of those transactions that we're seeing in that particular time period. And on our sales order tab, we can see the open sales orders for this customer, again, with that functionality to drill into specific documentation if we need to. Transitioning over, we're now going to be looking at our invoice data entry option. In invoice data entry, we would see this being used if a customer using Sage 100 did not currently have the purchase order, sales order, or the inventory module set up within their Sage 100 environment. My system is enabled for batches, so I can generate a new batch number and keep all of my invoices I'm creating in one batch. This is a system setup option. I can create a new invoice for this customer, and again, select the customer that I want to be applying this invoice to. Remember, I said we'd see it later. Here's that message that jumps up and flags in my system showing that before I start to sell more to this customer, keep in mind they are on a customer credit limit and they are exceeded. I'm going to accept this message and, for our example, continue on in our process. But that's nice that we can get that instant in notification if something is off within the system, something we should double check. Here, just as an example, everything is filtering in over from my customer main data record, including my tax schedules, my salespeople, my ship methods. On my lines tab, I would be able to select what is referred to as a miscellaneous item code. Again, remember, in using the AR invoice data entry module, we would not necessarily have inventory set up. And so I'm choosing a non-inventory item. I can choose this miscellaneous item or fee, add it to my lines grid, choose the amount that I will be charging for this customer, and I can process and post that invoice from here. As other options, we also have the ability to do what's referred to as a repetitive invoice entry. Repetitive invoices are extremely helpful if you have customers that will have reoccurring charges. Using this example one more time, you can see I have a reference field here, and I already have set up a monthly maintenance contract. By creating this particular type of contract, I can determine how often I want my customer charged. I can set a cycle. I can start my billing and stop my billing dates. I can use my lines tab, which defaults into that maintenance renewal that I would be looking to charge on a monthly basis. My default amount has already pre-populated. I can choose to save this and generate repetitive invoices instead of manually having to enter them every month. Another option that we have within the AR module is what's referred to as our cash receipts entry. This is how we would apply payments to customer invoices. I would start by generating a new deposit number. I can give it a description if I want, and all my bank information does default in based on my system setup. I can enter the cash amount that I will be posting for this particular deposit I'll make, accept that, again, go in to choose my customer that I will be applying to, tell the system if I have a check number, what that check number might be so I can record it. And in my amount received for this particular check number, remember my deposit was a total of 1,000, but perhaps this check is only 125. I can enter that here and on my lines tab, be able to select the correct invoice to apply for this customer's payment. And you can see that my balance zeroes out at this point. Also within the AR module within Sage 100, I do want to show that there are a number of standard reports that does come with the software. Looking through this list, there's pretty much a flavor for whatever you might need. One of the most popular, obviously, being the accounts receivable aged invoice report. These are all standard reports, and Sage 100 does allow for report customizations, either to modify these existing reports or to create brand new reports from scratch. This video has covered the basics of the accounts receivable module in Sage 100. Thank you so much for your time today. And if you have any additional questions on Sage 100 functionality, please reach out to the Baracus Blum Computer Consulting team.